Hey YouTube, GW here with the first of a three-part series on the ban list. Today will be the first part where I'm covering the ban list, and then parts 2 and 3 I'll be covering text for the new format and also possible new format top-tier decks. For the ban list, for ban we have Cold Wave, Goyle Guardian, Mass Driver. Goyle Guardian, kind of a big surprise and a reason why a lot of people thought the initial scans were fake. It's kind of completely random how it was banned. Other than being a big 2800 beater in this format, he really doesn't do a whole lot because he runs into problems with Book of Moon and Dimensional Prison and Mirror Force, Bottomless, a lot of answers to him. But Konami felt like it would be a good card to ban. Maybe it has something to do with their Xseed summons and just the fact that Goyle's just a big body and is bad for the format according to Konami. Next is Cold Wave. A lot of people are thankful for this card to be banned. It just generates too much negative play. It pretty much stops your opponent for 2 turns from using spells and traps. A lot of OTK decks revolved around this, making big pushes, and I'm glad to see it banned. Mass Driver's finally gone. This deck just this card just creates too many, OTK possibilities and just really stipends the amount of creativity that Konami can have, in making new cards. So it was just better that this card go. Limited, we have Book of Moon, Dandelion, Honest, Kalut, and Gateway of the 6th. Big surpriser here is Book of Moon to 1. Everyone was using 3. Konami usually doesn't like that, so, they decided to go ahead and limit that. Konami did it before with Smashing Ground, with Bottomless Trap Hole and such. Book of Moon's a very versatile card, and it's a -1, but it is probably the most versatile card in the game. So yeah, Book of Moon to 1. Next is Dandelion. I'm glad this card's down to 1. It should have never came back from 2. Dandelion is the whole reason, plants are just as big as they are. It just generates so many pluses. It needed to be at 1. Next is Kalut and Honest. Kind of surprised by these two. From what I've read from a lot of people, they kind of thought that, Honest would go back to 3 and Kalut would stay at 3. I'm not necessarily opposed to this just because their effects are kind of hard to negate unless you're playing something like GBs or something, and they're kind of hard to play around. There are a lot of, OTK possibilities with Honest, and I can understand that one being limited to 1, but Kalut I really don't think needed to, other than, just the OCG meta and just abusing Blackwings and Kalut. So maybe that's why it was hit. Lastly, we have Gateway to 6. Thank goodness this card is finally gone. It's finally to 1. It just generates way too many pluses, and with multiple on the board, 1 is bad enough to deal with, but, I think that 1 is a good number so that it supports, the new Samurai stuff and support, and it just doesn't, at 1 it doesn't have the same negative play experience because it's harder to draw into and you can't loop as many cards with it, so good riddance is to 1. Semi-restricted, Card Trooper doesn't really do a whole lot, it's not at 3, so you don't have OTKs with Machine Dupe and Limiter Removal. At 2, at best, it's really just milling stuff for, plant decks and for Lightsworn decks, and just, it's a pretty good floater. Archler Christia to 2. OCG meta has the new Fairy deck. Maybe, that's why they decided to limit Archler Christia, because it's really not being seen anywhere, being played anywhere, except in maybe, Herald of Perfection decks. Whatever. Spirit Reaper to 2. I kind of like this. Yeah, it's annoying at times, but it's a good, solid overall card. It has lots of counters, and the fact that it's blown up once it's targeted by enemy controller, or Forbidden Lance, or even CED and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty good at 2. Maybe find some more Recruiter Chaos kind of stuff being built, with Mystic Tomatoes and 2 Spirit Reapers, and now the new 3 Chaos Sorcerer. So we'll see. Debris Dragon at 2. I like this. It's just too much advantage being able to just, sink into pretty much any Dragon Synchro monster with just a normal summon and just blow up the field with Black Rose, or, have huge advantage with Scrap Dragon. I kind of like this at 2. I really don't think it needed to go to 2, but it's not a really, a big deal. It doesn't really kill the deck type, but, it stipends it a little bit. Next, Royal Tribute. You know, Gravekeepers got hit kind of hard with this list. Royal Tribute to 2 isn't really a big deal, but, you know, Book of Moon to 1 kind of hurts them. And, you know, this Royal Tribute to 2, it's a broken card, honestly. You know, it just, first turn, it's just not fair to play against it. Overload Fusion. There are OTKs with this, you know, with Chimeric Fortress Dragon and whatnot, but there just really isn't a whole lot you can do with this card. I think there's like 2 monsters you can even summon with it. It is kind of risky, though, with the Chimeric Fortress OTK, but we'll see how it plays in the meta. Megamorph is out. It's back to 2. It's a pretty solid card. It's kind of versatile in the fact you can equip it at your opponent monster, you can equip it at your monster to either give him attack boost or decrease. There are more, you know, OTK options with it, and you can push for big damage, but it's kind of risky to put it back at 2, but at the same time, you know, maybe the risk will pay off, and it'll help create different deck archetypes that aren't totally broken. Soul Morning to 2, thank goodness. Seriously, 3 of them, playing against 3 of them is just ridiculous. It's not fun. You know, not even being able to summon a monster is really not fun at all. There's very few counters to it because it's a counter trap, and I'm quite frankly glad to see it at 2. Next, Icarus Attack. Konami continues to just put the hate on Black Wings, first with Kalut, now with Icarus Attack. At 2, I really don't see it doing too much compared to 3. Like, yeah, 3's nice, but at least you still have 2. At least it's not to 1 or banned. I personally hate Icarus Attack, as, you know, playing against it. I think, you know, it just generates so much advantage and so much control. You know, I'm kind of glad that it's hit as well. Unlimited, real quick, Chaos Sorcerer, Demise, Snipe Hunter, DeLorean, Gold Sarko, Skill Drain, and Ultimate Offering. Really the only one that just even is going to matter is probably Chaos Sorcerer, just because, you know, it can maybe make a new deck type, like with Recruiter Chaos with the new 2 Spirit Reapers, and, you know, maybe just random Thunder Dragons to help, you know, thin the deck and put some lights in the graveyard, and, you know, maybe some other random stuff. I think that'd be kind of a cool deck to test out and experiment with. Demise, OTK, you know, it is risky to bring it back. I really don't think it's going to have that much effect in the meta, but you never know. Snipe Hunter sucks. DeLorean isn't very good. I've never even seen it played. Sarko 3, don't really think this makes too much a big difference. Sarko's too slow, especially compared to, you know, Pod Duality, even Upstart Goblin. 3 really doesn't make a difference. I really don't see any decks running 3. Skill Drain and Ultimate Offering, I like these 2 cards back at 3. I think they create a new deck type. You know, Skill Drain creates Fusilier Dragon and Barbaros decks, and it's really good anti-meta tech. It messes up a lot of stuff, this format, especially with hardly any, you know, Magic and Trap paid out. Ultimate Offering can just generate so much advantage with gadgets and other random stuff. You know, maybe there's some loops possible with that. You know, it'll be interesting to see how those 2 cards play out. What Konami possibly missed, depending on how the US is compared to the OCG list, the limit of Trishula. Trishula is limited in Japan, but it's not on our list as of yet, so we'll have to see. It would be awful to have to play in a format with 3 Trishula, and the crazy stuff that it can do in such decks, like is the OCG Fairy deck that's coming out, and also in something like Infernities. It's ridiculous. They possibly missed out on bringing Heavy Storm back. Still a big problem that a lot of people have with this list is the fact that, you know, it's going to be a play a monster and just set 4 format. You know, a lot of people don't like that. I personally think it's okay. I think you still have Traps done. You have Malevolent Catastrophe, Giant Trunade. You have 2 MSTs to play with. There's some answers to, you know, the abundant back row. Lastly, Konami needed to ban Mindmaster. I know it's not really a big deal right now, but there's just so many FTKs and OTK possibilities with it now and coming out, you know, with the Gustas and whatnot. And also the new Psychic support in the next set is pretty busted. Get ready for Mindmaster, you know, to be all over the place this coming format, towards the end of the format once the new set drops. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. Keep an eye out for my next 2 videos on the ban list. They should be out by the end of the weekend. Thanks again, YouTube, for paying attention and watching my videos. This is GW signing out.